Hi, and welcome to the review of Unit 4, Mopulism. So, as we described in the preview, Mopulism is a word that the Korean reporters have made up to describe presidential candidate Lee Jae-myung or Lee Jae-myung's policy or promise that he will put hair treatment for men on the national health insurance and cover it for all situations, not just for illness.
Makeup.
Makeup. But a lot of people argue that the national health insurance system is already paying out more than it's taking in. So they don't really have the money, and many Korean patients with very serious illnesses like cancer are paying out of pocket for their medical care. And so if you're going to give money to anybody, you should allocate it to those people first before you start paying for hair treatments.
I see. Out of pocket.
Out of pocket.
Allocate.
Allocate. But this kind of micro-targeting, which is what this is, focusing on very small issues that affect a smaller portion of the population, is becoming really popular these days. And the other presidential candidate, the main opposition, Yoon Suk-yeol, has also made a promise to create more dog-friendly spaces. He's targeting the animal lovers. And one of the reasons for this kind of micro-targeting might be that the big issues like the economy or COVID, they're really complex issues and they're really hard to solve. And even if the candidates make promises, it's hard to tell whether they'll keep them or not.
Right. Complex.
Complex. If you target smaller issues that people are really passionate about and maybe affect people in a really personal way, it's a way of getting support from the public. So going back to the national health insurance system, how would you feel about paying more taxes? Because that's one way to cover more issues, is to pay more money into the system. How would you feel about that, to get more out of it?
To get more out? I would be okay paying what would be a proportionate amount, proportional. I don't want to be paying an excessive amount more and not use it.
Right.
But honestly, paying more taxes in general, as an American, I'm sure you could agree, you don't want to pay more.
In general, it's preferable.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the current level, when it comes to like actual illnesses and life-saving things, you want your health insurance to cover that. And I think Korea does a much better job than America at that. But when it comes to these more superfluous things, as a balding man, I can say, yes, a wig, your mental health about balding, totally superfluous. And that's pretty strong
so it hasn't
to
affected
say.
your mental health?
Oh no, it has.
It has.
But you just have to, you have to overcome that.
Power through?
Yeah. Now, maybe the old term would be man up for most men, but you just kind of have to get over it. You accept it. But that's a hard thing in society. I can understand America's society is a little more accepting of it. Here, it's a massive strain. There's a lot of social things. But I don't know, it's a little strong for me to say not to support that, but that's a more social thing that needs to change, in my opinion. But off of that, what do you think of paying more?
I don't necessarily have a problem with paying more. I think there are many countries like the Scandinavian countries that pay very high amounts of taxes, but get a lot of social services out of their taxes. Free education and pretty much free healthcare and all of these things. And Korea definitely does much better than the US.
Absolutely.
But compared to Scandinavia, there are maybe still some things that they don't cover that perhaps they should.
Okay.
But saying that, I am an independent contractor in Korea, and the way they calculate the health insurance for independent contractors seems really unfair.
Yes.
We pay proportionally much more than people who are working for companies. And so before they increase the payments into the health insurance system, I think maybe they should try to figure out exactly how much different people should be paying.
Right, absolutely.
Because it really does, it takes a huge chunk out of my salary compared to people who are getting half of it paid by their companies.
Right.
So there are some things to figure out before they increase the taxes, I think.
Yeah.
So you've got to make this system fair and good for everybody before you start taking more and more from the people.
I think if you start covering hair treatment and or wigs for mental health, then what about plastic surgeries for mental health? Like,
there's endless issues.
You open up that can of worms and you can justify anything. So I agree with like cancer patients. They absolutely need it because that is a direct reaction to a illness that's killing them and they have to cure it. So
yeah, baldness for the most part
heredity
doesn't kill.
Nope.
Heredity.
Heredity. Okay, and on that note, that is all for Unit 4 Mopulism. We'll see you in the next video.